Hi, I'm Hershel Friedman of Minerals.net, and I'm on my way to Amity, New York to visit Glenn Rhein. Amity is a old and classic New York State deposit, which is famous for its giant spinels, among other minerals, and it really hasn't been on the map in a while because nothing really new has been coming out of there until now. Glenn has found an amazing mineral deposit on his property. He basically didn't know anything about minerals, and he just found these giant crystals, while digging. He didn't know what they were, and he posted them on the Mindat website forum, asking for help. And I chanced upon that forum, and we've been in touch ever since. And the stuff that he's found there is just absolutely incredible. The giant crystals and the diversity of the crystals. And Glenn is happy to show us around his property and show us his finds today. So Amity is on the northern extension of the Franklin Marble Belt, right across the New Jersey border. It's about only a mile north of New Jersey in New York. So Glenn is going to show us around what he's found there and put Amity back on the map.
Hi, Hershel.
Hey Glenn, how are you?
Good, how are you today?
Good.
Good to see you again.
Same here. Great to see you, and the weather is beautiful. Before we start, I just wanted to know if you can just share with us some information on what we're doing here.
Well, it started out 7 years ago. We bought the property here. We did a subdivision, and because of the town required certain things, so we had a lot of people out here, and geologists and archaeologists and things like that. And so everyone that came here said there's a lot of great minerals here and there's a lot of interesting stuff. I knew nothing about minerals at all, so didn't kind of pay much attention to them until a couple of years ago. They came through this natural gas pipeline, and when they dug through, they unearthed a lot of interesting stuff, and it got my curiosity piqued, and so it all started from there.
And what was your reaction when you first found those giant minerals, those giant crystals that you found, that you pulled out of the ground?
Well, they started out pretty small, and the bigger they got, the more excited you get. And when you find that big giant crystal, you realize, you really have something. Through the internet, we started posting on Mindat.
And it's just amazing how, from the original postings that we've seen on Mindat, how there's such a nice learning curve that you really didn't know much about anything about the minerals. And now you're really an expert on this whole thing, and you're finding these amazing stuff, and you know exactly what you're finding these days. I just find that incredible.
Well, it started out with no knowledge at all, and I'm here, I live here, so it's easy to go out for half an hour or 15 minutes, and every time you go out, you learn something, and everybody that comes here, you learn a little something. So today we'll give you a good tour of the property and show you some stuff I found. Okay, this is some of our first finds. Like I said, they started out small on the surface, and about 3 feet down we were pulling out rocks like this. It was at one time, I believe, one giant pocket, but it was all broken up, so they were coming out in pieces. We actually didn't have to really break anything up. There's some real sharp meionite crystals with a dendrite coating. We have some titanite here. The brownish is titanite. Some big diopside crystals. And there's some apatite mixed in, which are kind of greenish. We got the meionite, which is the white, has a nice pink fluorescence. It's not real strong, but it's a really nice bright pink. These boulders, like this particular one here, came out of that. These are mostly all the diopside crystals, and that's just how they came out of the ground. They weren't really cleaned, hosed them off, and
they're giant.
They're pretty cool. So this came right out of this pit right here. It's full of crystals and you can see some really good sized crystals, and of course a lot of leaves and stuff that's been sitting out. But the piece we just looked at was cut off of the bottom of this piece here that was laying out in the garden, and we kind of spread them out all over the yard, and it's pretty fascinating. People come and hang out and take pictures with them, and you can move 100 feet or 50 feet and you'll find another pit, and it'll have a totally different, there'll be some fluorescence and there'll be some spinels. So this rock is one of the first spinel rocks we found. It's basically all the dark you see is spinel, and the kind of mustardy color is condordite, and the white is marble, but it's just pretty much a mass of rock of spinels. And you break a lot of the spinels, but some were naturally weathered out, and there's some nice crystals on it.
Here's the marble.
Here's your marble line, and the crystals just start forming. And where there was room for the crystals to grow, you have some really nice crystals. A lot of people were here chiseling off pieces off of it, and there's still potentially some neat things in that boulder with a little bit of work. So this marble was from when we dug that trench. It kind of got pushed to the side, and we didn't realize till later on that there was some good fluorescence here. Here are some more pieces that are just kind of scattered around the property. Some large diopside crystals. This one's got a kind of a rough but a pretty big meionite crystal sticking, the white one sticking out the top. And like I said, we have them scattered out through the rocks here. So
you're kind of making ornamental.
Part of the landscaping. Actually, when you were here last, I think we had quite a few in the garage, and kind of got overwhelming, so we kind of moved them out and spread them out in the yard. This is pretty fresh. It's about 50 feet long. It was a marble outcrop. I kind of just loosened up some marble off the top, and we're waiting for some rain to wash it off so we could see what was here. And what typically I'll do is I'll break off a few pieces. I'll walk around the woods and I'll break off a few pieces and try and remember which pocket I put it in. So I'll check them with the light and get them inside and wash them off and see what minerals are inside of it. And if they're fluorescent, then I go back and dig it up like this a little bit and see what we find. And after don't find too much more, I can just level it back up and start over.
Start on a new spot.
So I got some really nice norbergite and some green crystals. I'm not sure if they're fluoridinite or diopside, but they're really bright green. And the norbergite here is much more mustard than 100 yards away. That is pretty bright yellow, kind of pale. This is darker, and the color of it in daylight is also much darker, kind of a bright orange. So this is typically that one probably won't come out of there, but piece like this, you can see the norbergite. There's some really nice crystals in there, typical your graphite, and they'll fluoresce. And it's kind of hard to see. When you put the light on it, you'll see the diopside, but you'll find some pieces that have some really nice, 1/4 inch, 3/8 inch green crystals in them that'll fluoresce. And I just found a little pink spinel in there, so that's in here too. So about 50 feet over, we have the spot where I found the graphite spheres and the pargasite crystals. And then you can see that layer of marble laying right on top of the country rock. And there's a seam there, and if you keep peeling back that country rock, or the marble is on top actually, so if you keep peeling back that marble, you'll keep finding more stuff. And don't really know how deep it is. We just got down there digging by hand, so maybe when we get done here, I'll take the machine over there, and that'll be the next project. We'll peel some of that away, but we'll go over there and show you what that looks like. You can see down in the hole here, it's getting a little bit of a struggle now to reach in there, and we're going to have to maybe remove some of this marble. But the contact zone is in there, and you can see the point, and there's you'll find those black nice shiny black crystals in there. And it actually breaks out of the marble pretty easy because the marble's weathered, so you get a nice crystal. This piece is just a mass of serpentine and spinel. There's some really nice formed crystals, you probably can't tell, but there's maybe an inch one here and scattered throughout. But that's typically how it'll come out of the ground. You kind of see it's kind of chunky, and you want to, get it home and wash it off, and you never know what appears. But a lot of times you'll find a really nice spinel in that mix. There's some really sharp faces here, and tons of little ones, but a neat piece. Okay, so this is a little pit here where we got some of those really nice little graphite flakes that are weathered out of the country rock, and
they're in that contact zone also.
In that contact zone, there's some nice graphite and some diopside crystals. We found all different colors here on the hill, but right now this little spot, they're like a deep red.
Oh, it's
so they're kind of nice. They're small. The biggest one was maybe half an inch, but they're real nice. So we look for spinels here on the hill, and I always keep a little piece of spinel in my pocket here, and these happen to be like that deep red color, and they got a really nice luster on them.
Yeah, this is the best color for it.
And that they don't fluoresce, but that's what we're finding right now on this little spot. And so we just kind of started digging, but. They're probably one of my favorite spinels I found yet, besides the pink ones. They're just, they're really cool looking. I think Amity is probably loaded with these little spots, and if people knew where to look and had the means, you could find a lot of great spinels here still in Amity. Okay, now we'll hit some of our most favorite. Everyone has their own, but these few are my favorite. This group of Titanites, the luster is just great. There's just a bunch of them on there, and it's really the whole face of it is this Titanite. So there's pieces like this that they're
nice pocket.
Just a little pocket, and it's kind of neat. We cut it out of a rock. This is one of the larger diopside crystals we have, just to get a perspective here.
Wow.
It's nicely terminated on the top.
That's amazing.
It's a great piece, and that we haven't pictured yet. So that's like the first viewing of that. And then you got these funky ones where you just got that finger sticking up like that, which makes it kind of unusual. And you talked about that coating.
Yeah.
There's a good view of that crystal. It's got a nice dark dendrite coating on it. So these are most of them were just floaters that were laying in the dirt. Some where you could see were attached at one time. Yeah, this is a piece we sliced off one of the rocks. It's you can see the crystals of meionite. Nice group, and with that coating again on them. This is kind of chunky, but it's just a massive diopside crystal.
Yeah, there's a little fluorapatite crystal sticking on here.
Yeah, some of the pieces we have, it'll just have a little bit crystal laying in the side of it, which is kind of nice. You'll see a titanite buried in the side, or a little apatite laying in the side, and they're kind of neat. This is a really cool piece. It's just got so much going on. It's kind of hard aesthetically. Maybe it's not the prettiest, but you got some really nice titanites and a nice meionite here, and with some long apatites and some kind of black horn blend. The best apatite we gave to the New York State Museum, but this is aesthetically a really neat piece with great color.
Good termination. Just good association with the other minerals also.
Yeah, that one we really like. Here we got a group. I've been working on cleaning it a little bit. Got a ways to go yet, but you can see that there's little titanites. Here's a bigger one, but they're scattered throughout.
This one is amazing. This is just a giant spinel. Just look at the size of this.
Here you got another crude one on top that's slightly bigger, but this is pretty nice, and you got this serpentine matrix that it's in. This looks like it was almost 1-2 at one time, that maybe weathered out, but that's the biggest spinel that we found, and it's a nice piece. And this is kind of cool. It's
the size of it,
just the size and the
face.
It's kind of looks like something that was manufactured out of a piece of steel with that beveled edge. Here we have another one of those big clunker diopsides.
Funny orientation.
You know, it's just amazing that they can grow like that, you know.
These are all diopsides on the side also. Yeah.
Here in this little pit just off to the side of the house, we were getting these
Little
graphite, pieces of graphite. But this stuff is all, I think it's little pargasite crystals, but they were coming apart, and you could just break it apart with your fingers, and they would just, the graphite would appear, and you're pulling on this stuff, and it would split this graphite apart, and these little wings would appear. So we got quite a few of these little guys. This is one looks like a butterfly. This didn't find much uvite, but this was actually a piece that was on the stone wall in the back, and we chipped it off, and there was some more in the marble, but it not well formed, but it's got a slight pale yellow fluorescent color.
Right,
pink spinels. The color is just, you know, magnificent. They fluoresce that beautiful red long wave. Got a chondrodite here. It's hard to see, but it's got a nice crystal face on this one piece here, and it's got a little bit of luster to it, but same thing, it's right on the marble, and you get these huge pieces of chondrodite. This is some pyrrhotite we found.
That's probably slightly magnetic too.
It is pretty magnetic, like...
heavily magnetic.
Yeah, I had no clue when I found it what it was, but it was kind of cool to break open this rock and find this, looked like a tin foil inside. It was so bright and shiny. It since has tarnished a little bit and dulled out, but a neat find. Got a nice group of titanite crystals here. This one's a beauty down in the hole.
Yeah.
And great luster, great color, sharp edges. You about shave with that one right there.
Yeah, and get it cut.
That's fluoridinite. It's highly fluorescent. The color it's great, that bright green.
Somewhat gemmy.
And you only find this in the marble, and hard to find good crystals of it, but we found a few nice ones in, you know, that size range. Here's some of the spinels we found.
Spinels.
This is probably about 1.5 inch piece, and it's got some parallel growths, and they're just lined up. It's a neat little piece.
Or you can see the luster on these. I mean, there's all different types, like from these really highly lustrous. This is pretty good luster.
Pretty good, and then they'll get like this.
Dull, but still very good crystal faces.
And these nice little groups where they're kind of intertwined together, they're kind of neat to find. This is probably
nice combo.
Probably one of my favorite pieces. It's a big diopside sitting on a nice meonite crystal, and it's just
a really good combination.
Nice combination and a nice aesthetically looking
perched
nice up on that. Okay, this is our little fluorescent room here. It's the entry of the basement, and we put a false floor in, and we store our fluorescent rocks here, and it makes a great dark room. So we got the rocks all over the place here, and we'll give you a sampling of some of the...
This is shortwave, I'm assuming.
This is shortwave. You want to find a rich vein. You'll see, you know, you'll get something like this, but you got to flip that rock over and find that vein, and you want to split it right on that spot where you get a really nice...
What is this?
This is norbergite. This is norbergite. And the blue-green, you'll see pieces with blue and green combination. Like this little bright guy, that's going to be diopside and fluoridinite. This piece is like this. This is where it's altering, and you'll find some purple fluorite and some mica. And this probably could be, you got to rotate the rock and see if that goes all the way through, but you could probably split that piece and get a little nicer piece that's got fluorescence on both sides, and you end up with two pieces.
Do any of these fluoresce long?
Well, the only thing we're going to get long wave is, and there's very little bit of the calcite here. It's not like Franklin. You'll get a little bit that fluoresces, but very little of this I found. This this is not meonite, it's scapolite, and it fluoresces long wave, and it's that color. You could see they were weathered crystals. I slice that off. Oh, there we go. There's a good example of the spinel and the phosphorescent white. So if I shut that light off, that'll glow for 3 or 4 seconds.
Wanna try it?
And let's see if we can get that to happen.
I don't know
Oh,
if
we got the blue one going down there.
Well, that florist room is really neat. And Glenn, it's been really a pleasure. Thanks for showing me around here.
Okay, Herschel,
Man,
it was great. And
amazing.
you got to come back when you have time to do some digging, and
Absolutely.
we'll hit some of these spots, and hopefully you can come home with a nice finale.
Absolutely. All right, thank you so much.
Okay,
All right, take care.
bye.